What is up, Howlers? Good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on where you are at. I'm Allergus,
I'm Hazy.
and this is Howling
Howling at night.
at night.
Yeah.
I swear
One of these days, one
one
day
day
we'll get it. We've come close multiple times, but it's
we
just like
have. We've come so close.
you got so close, but in the end, it
It
doesn't
didn't
even
even
matter.
matter.
Okay, let's not get copyrighted.
Yeah,
Let's not do that. We're
no.
gonna get
Yeah, no. No, we're so young, we don't need it.
yeah.
So, for those of you that missed it, we are covering the ILLRIGGER subclasses, or in this case, diabolic contracts. This is part 2 in regards to diabolic contracts. Part 3 if you're counting the baseline class, the ILLRIGGER itself. But either way, we have 2 more subclasses to talk about, go over, and then we're going to talk about the class as a whole. And yeah, that'll be today's episode.
Indeed.
Are you ready?
Real quick, I'm going to give a fair warning to everyone. I'm probably going to be a little quieter on this episode today, just because current situations have kind of deemed it that I am stuck in a room where my parents are trying to sleep. So,
Also, in that regard, we do have a little bit of background noise, so
which
a lot of
I personally
apologies.
can't do much about. It shouldn't be too noticeable. Hopefully, if it is, I'm sorry. But yeah. Anyway, I guess let's just hop right into it.
Starting off
first,
with the painkiller.
The painkiller, yeah. The heavily armored death troopers of hell. Painkillers served Despater, leading from the front of every major infernal battle. Despater rules Dis, the city of war. When hell invades another world, Despater's army does the fighting and dying. His painkillers are master strategists who lead from the front, inspiring terror and awe in their soldiers. The imperious painkillers are full of pride and hubris, and they often obsess over their personal appearance. Though among the most chivalrous of the ILLRIGGERs, a painkiller's gallantry is twisted. They accept and honor challenges to single combat and swiftly punish any who try to interfere. But if losing, they don't hesitate to cheat, and if winning, they arrogantly toy with an enemy before finishing them. In a moment of weakness or desperation, a ruler in another world might see their army facing certain defeat and call on Despater. Ever eager to sow strife and discord, Despater often responds to those pleas by sending a painkiller to lead the desperate ruler's army. Interesting.
Very interesting. So basically, they do kind of have a code of chivalry. However, they will also cheat quite often, as well as if they're winning, they will toy with their enemy.
I kind of like the flavorfulness of, like, this makes me think of, there's a character from Game of Thrones that basically describes this to a T, and that is, I forget what his name is, but he's like the sellsword who's hired on by Tyrion. Bronn, that's his name, Bran, something like that. I think it's Bronn. Okay. And his whole thing is that he fights with a code. He's super intelligent, super strategic, and he will fight one-on-one with people as long as he thinks he can win, of course. He will toy with people when he knows he's winning, but he's also fully down to just fucking cheat his way through everything if he has to. And half the time, he'll play on the fact that technically what he's doing, whatever he's doing, there aren't really any rules to a fight. Yeah. So he'll do whatever he has to. But yeah, no, I like the flavor of this. It's a fun little flavor. Precepts of Pride. Yeah, Precepts of Pride. Despater's heavy shock troops must be effective battle commanders and quickly dispatch enemies. Painkillers follow precepts instructing them to lead Hell's armies and wage war against good across the timescape. Lead from the front. I charge into the front of every battle, inspiring my soldiers and terrifying my enemies. Commander. Wherever I go, I command. I don't take orders from those who don't have the will to lead. Victory at any cost. I respect the enemy leader and treat them honorably, but once swords are drawn, I use every trick in my arsenal to win. expecting them to do the same. Soldiers die. I care not for the lives of my soldiers, for they are resources I spend to secure my victory. Makes sense, you know? Pretty simple, straightforward. Makes sense for what I would assume is the let's make a fighter more fighter subclass.
So it's very much you hone in on being arrogant, and you have little care for those around
you. Yeah. If I'm being honest, flavorfully, this feels like you took the champion subclass of the fighter and gave it like a hell theme.
I could see that.
Like either champion, like maybe, okay, not just champion. Maybe it's like a mix of champion and battle master. And then you kind of spun it around like hell. And I kind of like it. It's fun. Despater's Blessing, 3rd level painkiller feature. When Despater accepts you as his ILLRIGGER, you gain proficiency with heavy armor.
Okay.
Again, makes sense. They're the heavy shock troopers. They're meant. This is the tank class. The I'm gonna punch you in the face subclass. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Devastator, 3rd level painkiller feature. As an action, you can invoke the authority of Despater. When you make a weapon attack and choose you make a weapon attack and choose a number of willing creatures up to your proficiency bonus who you can see within 30 feet of you. Each creature you chose can use a reaction to make a weapon attack or cast a damage-dealing cantrip with a casting time of 1 action. Once you use this action, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. Honestly, that's pretty fucking powerful.
Wait a minute. So you make a weapon attack and choose a number of willing creatures up to your proficiency bonus you can see within 30 feet. Holy crap, because that means that, let's say, proficiency bonus is 3, right?
Yeah.
You have 3 allies attack on your turn alongside you. That is so powerful. Like, yes, it's only on a short rest that you get it.
It's a short or long rest, but you're more than likely going.
Yeah, you're more than likely going to hone in on that short rest.
I think it's very useful, especially if you're running in a party that has like low reaction economy.
Yeah.
Because if I'm being honest, I'm usually the player. Because like whenever I'm in a campaign, there's usually 1, maybe 2 players in the group who have good reaction economy, and everybody else is just kind of like, they don't really need it.
Usually it takes a few levels depending on the class for me to get good action economy. So I could definitely see, like, it's a 3rd level feature. Mind you, there's still other stuff at 3rd level that we get, but the fact that on a short rest, not only you, but several allies can attack on your turn, that sets up a lot. Yeah. And it's not even, it doesn't have to be a weapon attack. It can be a cantrip attack as well, or damage-dealing cantrip.
Here's the funny part. Here's my favorite part of damage-dealing cantrip. Its only requirement is that it is a damage-dealing cantrip with a casting time of 1 action.
There's quite a few.
There are quite a few cantrips that would be really good for this option.
Absolutely.
But like even if you're not really doing cantrips, if your group is very heavily like melee focused, which isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes a campaign setting calls more specifically for that. This is a really powerful 3rd level feature.
I agree.
Yes, you only get it once per short rest. I think that balances it fine.
Invoke Hell. You there, Hazy?
Yeah, give me a sec, sorry. Someone's messaging me about something and I gotta respond to them. Invoke Hell, 3rd level painkiller feature. You gain the following 2 Invoke Hell options. Grand Strategist. You can order your allies to follow your formation. No action required. Choose one or more creatures within 60 feet of you who can hear you, up to a number of creatures equal to your proficiency bonus. Each target can immediately move up to half their speed without provoking opportunity attacks. So basically what this means is you can go, okay, everybody's kind of in bad positioning right now. I don't like where anybody is. Grand Strategist.
So does
you
that
move here,
take up
you move
half
here.
their movement speed for their next turn?
No, it just whatever. I would assume it just uses because their thing resets on their turn. Everything they have resets on their turn. So it's very interesting. I'm assuming what that means is if they're sitting in a. I think what this means is they'd have to have at least half their movement speed. No, wait, no, they wouldn't.
No, because it doesn't restrict it.
No, it's saying each target can immediately move up to half their speed. It's just saying It's just saying that like whatever half their total speed is how much they can move with this ability. So if they have 30 movement speed, they move 15. If they have 40, they move 20. Whatever. I like that. That's not bad. That's very useful. Punishment. Whenever a creature damages you with an attack, you can use your reaction to force the attacker to make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the attacker takes necrotic damage equal to the damage they dealt you with the triggered attack. On a successful save, the attacker takes half as much damage. Okay, good reaction. You hit me, take the damage back at you. Or damage reflection.
Yeah.
Not bad.
It's a nice thing. It unfortunately is once a short rest?
Yeah. I believe so, yeah. You can regain it every short rest, which isn't bad. Again, I feel like certain invoke hells are less powerful, even with the fact that you get them on short rests. There are certain ones that I've seen that I go, this one just feels like you should be able to do it every combat, or you should be able, or the fact that it only happens once in the entire, like, for instance, the way Architect of Ruins one, where with its like spell thing was described, because the way it's worded, it makes it sound like you're only triggering it one time for one spell. That's not all that useful. The only other way I could see that being useful, the only other thing that I could see with like, okay, the rest of the combat is if the creature that you targeted with that spell now just has vulnerability until the end of combat to that damage type. And if that's the case, then it's like, okay, that makes it far more useful, in my opinion. And you'd probably use it more often. Especially because, like, if that were the case, I feel like that would be such a good option.
Well,
especially
with Architect, and we kind of talked about it a little bit. Architect of Ruins' whole thing is they have access to spells that do damage over time for a long period of time. Meaning that you can give the creature vulnerability for the duration of the spell, and it's going to be like a minute or 10 minutes or whatever the case is, and then they take that damage with vulnerability for that damage.
I think, honestly, in my mind, though, what would make it so fucking useful, because from what I saw of the spell list, there's a lot of different damage types that the Architect of Ruin gains access to, right? It has a wide variety of damage types.
But in regards to Invoke Hell, I think Punishment, you're probably going to be using it as a...
I honestly...
It doesn't defend you necessarily. It's more like a cheeky way of, you hit me, I hit you.
I think it's a good...
You're probably
it's like,
going to be using Grand Strategist more often, in my opinion.
I agree. I do think you're going to use grand strategies more often. Punishment feels like an effect that it's like, in my mind, when I'm going to use it is like, okay, there's one enemy left.
Hey,
He
Char.
hits me, and I go, cool, punishment back at him. He's dead.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Char. Char's in the house.
Yeah.
Oh, so is Fox. Hello, you two. It's good to see you both.
Dispatchers.
Foxy, little bear.
Or Dispater's interdiction.
Yeah, these are going to be good. Okay, I'm not going to read the part because that's whatever.
Yep.
Telekinetic seal, 7th level. Whenever creature you can see within 5 feet of you, whenever creature you see moves within 5 feet of you, you can use your reaction to place a seal on them. When you do, the target must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw, or either be pushed back 15 feet or knocked prone. Okay, there is a lot. I'm noticing there's a lot of reaction economy in this subclass.
Yes.
And it's not even just, and I think what makes it interesting is it's not just your reaction economy. It's group reaction economy.
Yes.
I will say telekinetic seal, I feel like I'm going to use this more than I would punishment as my reaction.
I can see that. I can see that.
Especially, I feel like this class is really defined by having multiple ways to throw seals on enemies. The more often you can.
The option of pushing them 15 feet or knocking them prone is such a nice touch, because then you get a choice of, do we want to give advantage to attacking this creature, or do we want to push them away?
I think the funniest part to this is especially because, like, whenever I hear knock an enemy, a certain amount of feet away, my brain always jumps to, where's the closest chasm that I can push this fucker down?
Yes and no. So when that comes to mind, there's two things in regards to that. The first is, yes, where's the nearest hole or cliff that I can fling them off of? Because I'm an asshole. Or who has Booming Blade?
Well, and here's the thing. Booming Blade is kind of complicated because Booming Blade does specify movement that hasn't been forced.
Yes.
Booming Blade's movement can't be forced, which this would be forced movement.
Yes, meaning it would not go off. Yeah. But once they move from that 15 feet away, then they take the damage.
I think another thing that I think is very noticeable is there are quite a few effects that say, oh, knock an enemy back into an unoccupied space or a space that they could land on. But with this, it just says, knock them back 15 feet. And that's why my brain jumps to, where's the closest cliff I can knock them off of? But yeah, no, I do think Telekinetic Seal, in my opinion, is an effect I would use more often than punishment. I think it's very good. Next, By the Throat, 13th level. When you use a bonus action to place or move a seal on a creature who is no more than one size larger than you, they must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw or be restrained until the end of your next turn. Of their next turn, sorry.
Okay.
Not bad. Restrained is a really good effect, too. Because restrained is, speed 0. Your speed is 0 and can't increase. Attack rolls against you have advantage, and your attack rolls have disadvantage, and you have disadvantage on dex saving throws. Yeah, it's not bad. I do think I like Telekinetic more than By the Throat's fine, though. I like it. I'm curious, though, the way it's worded. Is it saying that it will only affect a creature if it's a size more than me, or that it will only affect up to creatures one size bigger than me?
When you use a bonus action in place or move AC on a creature who is no more than one size larger than you.
Okay, so
they must succeed. So
then it's got to be a creature as long as they are only one size bigger
smaller than you too. It doesn't have to be your size.
Okay, By the Throat becomes so much more effective.
Generally, you're probably going to be playing a creature size of medium, meaning that large is the one size larger. So you can't go higher than that.
Yeah.
But that means that the one size larger up to the smallest point you have access to for this ability.
I think this is very interesting, especially because so here's my thing, right? I'm going to bring up two aspects behind this that kind of makes me think this ability is actually really powerful. One, this combos really well with in reduce and enlarge.
Enlarge, reduce, yes.
Yeah, they could just make you bigger, and now you have a wider
Because that
range of
changes
effect.
things, because then things count for a size.
But also, and this is the bigger aspect, there's no limit to how many times I can do this.
No, because
It just says
it's
whenever
interdicted build. It's not like
the
in
only
Vocal where it's limited to once a short rest.
the only limit there really is to it is the number of seals I have.
Yeah.
That's the only limit. And that limit, I think, and my favorite part of it is it says whenever you place or move a seal. So if you move a seal to a new enemy, it still triggers. I fucking love this. The more I read it, the more I love this one. But also, it's at 13th level, so it's kind of fitting that you would have such a powerful effect at that high of level.
If they also added or burn a seal.
Oh, every time you burn it.
Because I'm thinking about it, like if you place, move, or burn a seal, then it's like
too much.
They probably tested it. I guarantee you, they probably tested it, and then they were like, "Yeah, this is too much. Let's only do it for moving or placing the seal."
Yeah. Let's see, what's next? Next is Despader's Supremacy, 18th level passive. Your attacks against interdicted creatures score a critical hit on roll of 18 through 20. Expanding, yeah.
So basically, any creature that you put a seal on is an interdicted creature. And you score critical hits on those creatures passively on an 18 or higher rather than 20 or higher.
Yeah.
That
so
nuts.
this is literally the champion effect.
Yes.
It's a champion effect, but kind of worse. Because it is limited to interdicted creatures, but at the same time, that's kind of the whole basis behind this. You're interdicting
class
creatures
in general is interdicting creatures and then using the seals for certain effects and dealing damage.
I love the name of this next ability. You die on my command. When an ally within 30 feet of you who you can hear drops to 0 hit points without being killed outright, you can use your reaction to shout an order at them, causing them to drop to 1 hit point instead. Once you use this reaction, you can't do so again until you finish a short or long rest. This is so fucking unique because there's a lot of effects that say, oh, when you would drop to 0 hit points, go to 1 instead. This is whenever an ally would. I think this is really cool.
I don't think it counts you as well, does it?
No. Whenever an ally within 30 feet of you who can hear you, yeah. I don't think I don't think you count as an ally.
No, it doesn't. I don't believe it does. Now, if it said when a friendly creature within, which would count yourself, I believe, in that regard. So it's still nice. It's like, hey.
Oh, yeah, no, it's really good.
Your friends go down. No. Get that ass back up. You know, like.
Yeah.
I think it's a nice touch.
This is something I want to state this right now. This is something that I've come to enjoy about the ILLRIGGER. Its abilities are fucking. I love the names of their abilities. They have some, like, back on the Hellspeaker, quid pro quo. Yeah. That's hilarious. Fucking, you die on my command. Fuck, that's some aura right there.
It is.
I love that. It's a good, but no, as to the effect itself, it's just really good. It's a really good effect.
Yeah. Abilities in general that make you go to 1 hit point instead of when you drop to 0 are so good to begin with. And the fact that it's any ally within 30 feet of you when they drop to 0.
Here's the thing, right? I've always thought that one of the lackluster aspects of these abilities was the fact that it only ever worked for yourself. And the fact that now there is a version of it that is just reversed, it's so useful. This one, I feel like this has more uses than the original one. Sure, the others can save yourself, but I think this is more useful, especially because it's put on the subclass that is fucking built to be a tank.
Yes.
This is the subclass that's going to survive any fucking way.
This is like the tank that's basically I tank, but I'm also supporting on the back, like the front line, everyone around me.
Yeah. I think it's very interesting.
And the final ability for Painkiller.
Indeed. Death Strike. When you hit an interdicted creature with a melee weapon attack, you can use your reaction to burn one of the seals on them to turn the hit into a critical hit. When you do, you also double the damage dice you roll for the burned seal. You can use this reaction a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Okay.
Wait a minute. This might be a little broken. Can you do it multiple times on the same thing?
Whenever you hit an interdicted... Well, you have to use your reaction.
Okay. For a second, I'm like thinking about it, and I'm like looking at it, and I'm seeing double the damage dice, and I'm like, well, that makes sense if you're doing a critical hit anyway, but it's saying it, and then it's saying for, okay. That's still nice, where it's like, okay, your equal to your proficiency bonus, you can basically be like, I'm gonna crit here, and just double your damage.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. It's don't get me wrong. I'll be honest, it's a little lackluster in my opinion, only because in like 3 more levels you just get the ability that goes, cool, I get crits on an 18. I don't know. It's okay. It's a good ability. I don't know if I care for it as the capstone ability, but
I think like the fact that it gives you a guaranteed crit, does
once
a
per
lot. So it's like, okay, earlier on you get basically guaranteed crits to a certain extent, right?
Yeah.
And then on 18th level, then you get it where it's easier to crit, right? It's basically a crit monkey build without waiting till like 20th level.
Yeah. Well, moving on. Next is the Sanguinian Knight.
Sanguine Knight, yes. Oh, I've been waiting to talk about this one.
I'll be honest, I do think this is your subclass. this is the you subclass.
I'm gonna be honest. I looked at it a couple times, right? And it's a little juicy. I'm not gonna lie. There is a content warning, which I will read after I read this little snippet talking about it. So be aware. The Blood Knights of Hell. Sanguine Knights serve Sutek, Lord of Blood. Their sorceries drain their enemy's life force, pouring this stolen vitality into infernal rituals to turn the tide of battle. Sutek rules Naraka, the City of Blood. Recognized as the greatest sorcerer in Hell, he carries the title of High Sanguinary and rules from the Temple of Vitality. He is a master of blood magic, and his inner circle of priests and wizards are the Blood Liches, undead spellcasters whose incorporeal forms turned to ash centuries ago and whose bodies are crafted from solid blood. Sutek's ill-riggers all belong to the cult known as the Chalice of Vitality. Knights of the Chalice drink deeply of their enemy's essence, draining it to power their magics. Other members of the Order of Desecration fear that the Sanguine Knights seek more than Sutek's mere ascension to the throne of hell. Some whisper that the Chalice secretly schemes to make Sutek a god. This would, of course, be treason.
Okay, hold on a minute. So, this is very interesting.
Yeah.
This is a very unique subclass for one particular reason. Every other subclass mentions the Order of Desolation.
Yes.
This is the only subclass that mentions the Order of Desecration. And also shows them as possibly not even being a part of the Order of Desolation.
Basically, from what we just read, is that Sutek's whole thing is they manipulate blood and they have more of a cult following that is extracurricular in comparison to the other diabolic contracts, which causes fear for those under the other diabolic contracts because basically everyone's thinking, yeah, there's something more potentially going on there.
Okay, so and lore wise, I'm seeing the reason why, because the other four are under an actual archdevil whose whole thing is furthering the goals of hell.
Yes.
But Sutek wants to become a god.
Which I believe is an actual Egyptian god.
Sutek, yeah, it is. That is actually the Egyptian god of blood. Which
is quite funny. It's like, yes, they definitely achieved their ascension at some point.
But because Sutek's goal is to become a god, which is treason to hell, it makes sense that he has his own order.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Content warning. This subclass deals with manipulating another creature's blood. Before choosing this subclass, please ensure everyone at your table is comfortable with this concept. And as always, we encourage the ongoing use of safety tools throughout your game. There is some big reasons why I love this content warning being here. First off and foremost, yes, it is a class revolved around, essentially, you guessed it, bloodbending in a way. Right. And not a lot of people are okay, or they get a little squeamish.
Can I be honest real quick?
Yes.
I find it stupid.
There's
a whole other class that's based around blood. Yes. I'm saying this in the sense of like there is a class based around blood. This is a subclass. If people don't like this, then they just don't. Like it's just weird to me. Like, don't get me wrong, I've liked a lot of the content warnings so far, especially because of how things work. But if I'm being honest, this is probably the one that I'm just like, was it really necessary?
I think it was. I think it's a nice touch. Now, in certain regards, yes, you're right. There are classes that do things, and the reason why I like it, and it enforces it, right? So the last sentence of that content warning says, as always, we encourage the ongoing use of safety tools throughout the game. The biggest safety tool that you can have in your game is your session 0.
Here's the issue that I have with this specific content warning.
Yes.
If anybody's going to have an issue with this, it's because they have an issue with blood in general.
Yes.
Which, if I'm being honest, they probably shouldn't be playing D&D then. You get what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I'm all about like if you want to play D&D, you should play in D&D. But also it feels weird to put a content warning on a subclass one, again, I can understand of like, oh, you know, session 0 is very important in the sense of like, okay, this is a subclass that some people are uncomfortable with, so we're not going to play with it. That's fine. What? I can understand why people would have an issue with it. I understand that. But that issue specifically just feels like it's going to get dragged into other things that just feel like core elements of D&D, you know?
I think you're just reading too much into it, in all honesty.
Maybe I am.
Either way, I think it's a nice touch that it's there. It's a reminder, if you will, of, hey, there are safety tools in the game. People might get a little squeamish
That's fair.
before you choose this class.
I'm happy.
That you should be aware, as well as you should talk to your table and your DM.
I am happy that they have the content warning. You know, it just feels like this one specific was just this one just felt like a weird one to me.
I don't think it's weird. I think it's a nice touch of more so a reminder of, hey, people are going to be squeamish. It is okay. Talk to your table, talk to your DM specifically, as you should in regards to your classes and subclasses in general. But yeah. Precepts of Blood. Sanguine Knights swear an oath of Sutek. When they join the Order of Desolation, these tenets swear them to wield profane blood magic, commanding loyalty and inflicting terror. Their strength is their weakness. I target the strongest of my foes, for their vitality shall feed my victory. Sin demands suffering. Opposing me is heresy. Before my enemies taste defeat, they must pay for their unbelief with agony. Loyalty rewarded. My boons lead my allies to depend on me and on the bloodshed that empowers me. Mercy is power. In granting succor to my enemies, I prove how great my power is. Each time I restore life, it serves as a reminder of how quickly I can strip it away.
Okay, real quick, I actually kind of want to put in some like interesting little kind of lore realization with this. Yeah. This is surprisingly one of those subclasses that it feels like you have to start a campaign at level 3 with it in order to play this subclass. Mostly because this, like, all the others kind of had the pretext of like, yeah, they are under the pretext of like, yeah, their god isn't kind of like, or their archdevil or whatever is just like, we don't really care if you actually follow this because we're too busy focusing on other things.
Mm-hmm.
But this subclass specifies that every single Sanguinian knight is a part of the is a part of the chalice of vitality.
Yes.
And because of that, like, but so then the issue comes into play of like, okay, if your character wants to be a Sanguine knight of the chalice of vitality,
mm-hmm.
you have to then talk to your DM about figuring out some viable way to introduce the chalice of vitality in your campaign setting. But in certain settings, that doesn't feel possible. You know, basically what I'm saying is, the Sanguine Knight subclass feels the most unique in its lore aspect.
Yeah.
It feels like it's designed to be very separate from the other 4. It's very interesting.
Yes and no. Like it's definitely like it's separate, right? Because they have a cult.
Although, if I'm being honest,
rather than
the precepts do show that they are still a part of the Order of Desolation.
Yes.
So there is still some connection to the other orders or the other.
Like, I see what you mean in regards to like, hey, this is another thing that you would need to talk to your DM about. Of like, hey, I'm thinking about playing Sanguine Knight. I noticed that they have
They have a very
lore-wise, the specified of basically
Chalice
being
of
a cult.
yeah, they have a very specific introduction to their thing. Whereas with the
And
other,
in that regard, they're trying to turn their whoever they're serving into a god. I just wanted to let you know because I'm curious how that would affect the world that we're going to be playing it. You know,
the only I will state this real quick. I do think this is a very funny subclass, specifically because of the one shot / campaign that you have coming up with Strahd.
Yeah, there's things.
So there's some very unique connections you can make here.
There's a lot of things that I have potentially available at my disposal to cook in the kitchen. But yeah, Exsanguinate. Third level Sanguine Knight feature. You can drain enemies to embolden your allies. Whenever you burn one or more seals on a creature who isn't a construct or undead, you can choose an ally you can see within 30 feet of you. That ally gains temporary hit points equal to the damage dealt by the seals of the interdicted creature. Okay.
That's that. I get the flavor thing. I've always thought it was very interesting that every single time it specifies like, oh, construct. I understand constructs being immune to this kind of effect. Certain undead, I don't, because there are genuinely certain undead that either still do have blood. Hell, there are certain undead entities that are just made of blood.
Yeah.
So, like, as far as this ability goes, I feel like
to make it easier to differentiate, they just said construct or undead. Otherwise, it'd be a pain in the rear to try to differentiate.
I think the ideology would probably be best in the sense of we'll leave the specific creatures themselves up to the DM and players' discretion.
Exactly. There's always discretion of the DM to change certain things.
It's like it doesn't make sense for this undead creature to be immune to this effect because they still do have blood or whatever. Because there are other effects out there that are like, oh, constructs and undead are immune to this effect.
Sutek's Blessing. Third level Sanguine Knight feature. When Sutek accepts you as his Illrigger, he grants you access to his sacrilegious command of blood and life. You gain proficiency in the religion skill. In addition,
I think that's very unique, by the way.
Yes. In addition, as an action, you can expend your awareness of life around you. Until the end of your next turn, you can sense creatures who have blood within 120 feet of you without having to see them. This ability can penetrate most barriers, but is blocked by 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood or dirt. You know the distance and direction of each creature, as well as the creature's type. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest.
Honestly, pretty good.
I agree.
Once again, though, this kind of comes back to the whole construct or undead immunity thing. Discretion, DM's discretion advised.
Well, yes. So basically, this is a DM discretion advised, right? Because you could be having potential enemies, like creatures on the battlefield, right? That don't have blood. But also, if you have creatures with blood, your player uses this ability, right? That's 120 feet without having to see them. Granted, we don't know if there's walls made out of 1 foot stone. We don't know if there's 1 inch of common metal or lead.
I will state I do like effects like this for one particular reason. Because of how this effect works in the rules of D&D, the effects like this would count towards, like, for instance, whenever you use an ability or spell or whatever that says you need to see the creature, this would count. This would allow you to count it as seeing that creature.
Yeah.
I believe there's only one effect in the entirety of D&D that specifies that, but I believe it's because of that specific ability that like everybody's aware that all the abilities similar to this effect do that.
But yeah, I think it's a decent thing that you get. You get access to religion, right? And then you
I think
get
that's very unique.
basically a almost like a creature sense in a way where it's like,
Yeah.
hey, if they have blood, I can sense them. And it's not necessarily even just enemies. It's also your allies. You know exactly where they're at.
Yeah. Which I think is very useful.
Invoke Hell. Third level Sanguine Knight feature. You gain the following 2 Invoke Hell options. Embolden allies. As a bonus action, you restore a total number of hit points equal to the 5 times your ILLRIGGER level, divided however you choose between yourself and other creatures within 30 feet of you. Okay.
Very nice. I like it.
So it's kind of like Paladin's pool of healing.
Kind of, but like this is
A
more
one-time...
this is a one-time mass heal effect.
Yes.
You restore total. I like the fact that it also becomes it's one of those invoke hells that does become stronger the higher level you become.
Yes. Vitalize. You can flood your allies with invigorating vivacity. No action required. For 1 minute, each creature of your choice within 30 feet of you gains a bonus to ability checks equal to your proficiency bonus. That is great.
I love the fact that it's an invoke hell skill that wants to be outside of combat.
Yeah.
This is you don't see that a lot. I like the fact that it's kind of I like the fact that it's like a skill monkey skill.
Yes.
That isn't on a skill monkey subclass. I think it's unique and I like it. I do think it's going to have plenty of uses.
I agree.
But also, I think this is one of the few subclasses where I see both invokes having been used in equal amount of time.
I agree.
Yeah.
Sutex Interdiction. 7th level Sanguine Knight feature. You learn the following additional interdict boons at the noted ILLRIGGER levels. Once you learn an interdicted boon granted by this feature, you always know it, and it doesn't count against the number of interdicted boons you know. Foul Interchange, 7th level. As an action, you choose a creature you can see within 30 feet of you and expend a seal to end one of the following conditions afflicting them: blinded, charmed, dazed, deafened, frightened, paralyzed, or poisoned. Another creature you can see within 60 feet of you must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or suffer that same condition until the end of your next turn. If that creature is immune to the condition, they don't suffer the condition, but the condition ends for the original creature.
And for context, because you're about to read it, dazed is a new
condition. Yes,
new condition that has been introduced. And I do think it's very unique, and I like it. If you want to read it, go for it.
Yes, I will read it. Or actually, I can have you read it. But in regards, I think this is awesome because not only do you burn, like when you burn a seal, you still deal the damage, right? But you get rid of a condition. You potentially temporarily give it to another creature.
Hold on. Here's the thing. The best way to put it is it's more like transferring a condition. There are going to be certain creatures that you'll run across that are just like, oh yeah, no, they're immune to a certain condition. But I feel like the conditions that you're going to use this effect on most of the time is going to be the frightened and the charmed condition. And out of those two, I do see creatures who are immune to charmed, but I don't see a lot of creatures who are immune to frightened. I could also see the blinded effect being done a lot. Poison's a weird one because it's considered the most common condition, but I don't actually see it a whole lot.
Dazed. What does it do, Hazy?
Dazed. A dazed creature can only do one of the following things on their turn: move, use an action, or use a bonus action. If a creature becomes dazed during their turn ends. The Cure Ailment power, Lesser Restoration spell, and Greater Restoration spell remove the dazed condition. At the DM's discretion, other powers, spells, or effects might also remove the dazed condition. When a dazed creature is affected by a spell or effect that gives them an extra action on their turn, like the haste spell or the fighter's action search feature, they can still take this extra action in addition to their movement action or bonus action allowed by the dazed condition. Some creatures in this book have immunity to the dazed condition. At the DM's discretion, a creature published in the core rules or in other supplements who has immunity to paralyzed or stunned condition also has immunity to dazed condition. This condition was introduced in the Flea Mortals book.
Gotcha.
Very unique. I like it. Especially because there was inherently a lot of effects that were just like you get to choose one of these actions to take. Right?
Yeah.
I also think it's very unique because none of those actions ever take into account action surge or the haste effect. This one does, which I like.
Yeah, I do think that, for example, because I'm doing a one-shot or campaign,
Yeah.
that I'm going to need to get Flea Mortals if you guys are going to choose ILLRIGGER.
I think
I'm
so
seeing
too.
that quite a lot.
Flea Mortals looks like it's very heavily connected to the ILLRIGGER.
Sanguine Gift, 13th level. When a creature you can see within 30 feet of you regains hit points, you can expend a seal, no action required. And the creature regains additional hit points equal to your ILLRIGGER level.
This is such a unique subclass because it's a weird flavor on a healer class.
Yes.
It's a unique flavor of healer, and if I'm being honest, I really like it.
Same.
I don't think I'd ever play it because generally, I don't enjoy playing the healer. But I don't know.
I do enjoy playing the healer, but you're a twisted healer. You're a healer from hell.
Yeah.
So there, devil's in the details. I'm just saying. Blood for blood. 18th level passive. When an ally takes damage from an interdicted creature, that interdicted creature takes necrotic damage equal to your proficiency bonus.
See, this is really good.
It is.
Now, here's the thing, right? If I remember correctly, let me go back up top to the ILLRIGGER specifically.
Okay.
At 18th level, that means they're taking 6 damage every time they attack someone.
Yes.
Every time an interdicted creature attacks one of your allies, they take 6 damage.
Yes.
That's really good.
And it's specifically necrotic damage.
Which, generally speaking, depending on the setting, this is going to be good or not.
Yes.
Like, if I'm being honest, for instance, I don't think this ability would be too useful in the Strahd campaign because I do believe a lot of creatures in that setting have necrotic resistance or just straight up necrotic immunity.
Yes.
But other than that, it's really good.
I agree. Blood Stroke. 11th level Sanguine Knight feature.
Why does that sound like a kink? Why does that sound like a kink?
You're not wrong.
No.
The magic that shields your allies now also saps their enemy's strength. When an ally who has temporary hit points from your Exsanguinate feature is hit by melee attack, the attacker takes cold, fire, or necrotic damage, your choice, equal to your ILLRIGGER level.
Okay, that's really good too.
That is nuts.
Honestly, I think I would have enjoyed this ability. I think it's a really good ability. I think it would have been even better If it had been like, if there had been like, oh, once you reach 15th, 14th, whatever certain level, it becomes double your Illrigger level. Because if I'm being honest, you're gonna come a point where 20 points of fire, cold, or necrotic damage is not gonna do a lot.
Yeah.
40, like even 40 is like pushing the limit of like, okay, certain creatures are not going to give a shit about this, but it's still going to be useful in a lot of cases. And again, that's stating if you ever reach that point.
But here's the thing. That's on a melee attack. So let's say they get hit multiple times. It's going to trigger multiple times.
This is true. When an ally who has... Yeah, you're right. It does trigger.
As long as they have the temporary hit points, it'll trigger.
Yeah. And I think it combos technically with Exsanguinate, doesn't it? Hold on.
Well, yeah, because it's the temporary hit points from Exsanguinate.
Well, no, what I'm saying is, like, I think there's a way you could cycle this. So that, like, okay, they take damage, having temporary hit points from Exsanguinate, they they get hit, damage is dealt to the enemy, and then you cycle back around, putting a new seal or burning a seal that's on them to put more temporary hit points on the person they're fighting. Okay.
But overall,
thinking about it, I like this more.
Really good. I think
I like this more now. I think it's really good.
And I love the fact that you can choose from a few different damage types.
Yeah. It does give you the capability to be like, oh, you have resistance or immunity to this one, then I'll do this one.
Yes.
Especially because, once again, it's a trio of damage types that I don't think any one creature has has an immunity or resistance to all of them.
Now
so you're always going to be able to get one through.
The keystone ability for this subclass.
Yep.
Hamel Exchange. 15th level Sanguinite feature. You have mastered the ability to enervate enemies and endow allies. When an interdicted creature within 60 feet of you makes an attack roll or saving throw, you can use your reaction to burn one of the seals on them and transfer their power. The target must roll a d8 and subtract the number rolled from the triggered attack roll or saving throw. You can empower an ally within 30 feet of you. The next time that ally makes an attack roll or saving throw, they roll a d8 and add the number rolled to the attack roll or saving throw.
Honestly, really fucking good.
I agree.
Especially because it's a really powerful aspect to this.
What is that?
Once again, there's no real limit. Your limit on this is your seals. So you can do this multiple times in a combat.
I agree.
Yeah, I really like that. This is probably one of my favorite capstone abilities so far. I think the only one that I like more than this is probably the quid pro quo from Hellspeaker. Yeah. I think quid pro quo is the only one that I personally would find more powerful.
I think, all in all, Sanguinite is a interesting class, and I think it's fun. I would love to try it myself if I get the chance.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that it's an interesting take for a healer.
I agree. I think it's unique because if you actually look at it, it isn't actually a healer. It has healer effects, but it is a damage dealer.
It is literally a damage dealer disguised as a healer.
Yeah. And I think it works really well.
And it utilizes the damage that they deal to service their allies.
Yeah.
So, we do have, before we talk about the class as a whole, we wanted to, I believe, go over the items, correct?
I wanted to go over to the retainers and the items.
Okay.
So first, we're going to go to retainers, because I think these are interesting. Each retainer is basically an NPC that kind of goes along with one of the subclasses.
Yes.
The first one is the Agent, which is from the Shadow Master. The Agent is a medium humanoid of any alignment, 15 arm AC, 7 times their hit points of 7 times their level, or a number of D8 hit dice equal to their level. Movement speed 30, 10 strength, 16 dex, 10 con, 10 int, 10 wisdom, 14 charisma. Saving throws plus proficiency bonus to all. Let me repeat that for you. They get their proficiency bonus added to all saving throws.
Yes.
That's terrifying. Skills, acrobatics +3 plus proficiency, deception +2 plus proficiency, perception +0 plus proficiency, stealth +3 plus proficiency, sense, passive perception 10 plus proficiency, languages, common, infernal, proficiency bonus equals the mentor's bonus. I don't know what a mentor is.
I think basically this is if the player
Rules. Oh, okay. So rules for retainers appears in the retainers section of Flee Mortals.
Yes, which we would
So
need.
once again, yeah. So we'll probably have to get Flee Mortals and kind of look into that a little bit to see whether or not any of these. My assumption would be that this is akin to like the background that gives you like a little like it's like I think it's either the noble or the knight that gives you like a little dude that follows you around.
Yes, I think it would be similar because you're a knight of hell, right? Basically.
And so what I'm perceiving these as is these are characters that are under your wing. They're being trained under you to become an Illrigger of your subclass.
Yes.
And I really like that. Okay, so Agent, signature attack, dagger. Yeah. Features, 3rd level Shadow Gate. As a bonus action, the Agent teleports up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space. They can see the next time the Agent hits a creature with a signature attack. Before the end of their next turn, the attack deals an extra PB piercing damage, proficiency bonus. Dark Strike, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I don't think I'm actually going to cover all of these because this seems like a lot.
Yeah, I think fair enough. What we can do is we can wait until we figure out Flee Mortals, right?
Yeah, we'll figure out Flee Mortals.
And then we could definitely take a look again if and when we get Flee Mortals. And take a look at
let's
the
just go to the items.
We have a couple
there's 2 items
that we can.
Which one would you like to read? Because there's 2 of them. You read one, I'll read the other. That's what I'm thinking. We have True Name and Bloodsbane.
I think you can read True Name, and I'll read Bloodsbane.
Okay, I'll go with True Name then. True Name weapon, any uncommon, rare, very rare, or legendary requires attunement by an Illrigger. This weapon is ornately decorated with elegant details in brimstone and obsidian. It smells of iron and incense. When you attune to this weapon, you must whisper your true name to it. The name sears across the weapon in infernal runes, then fades. The typical True Name is an uncommon item, empowers an Illrigger's baneful interdict. When you roll an 18, 19, or 20 on your attack roll with this weapon and place a seal on a creature as part of that attack, you can place an additional seal on that creature. More powerful variants of True Name gain additional properties dependent on the rarity. Rare, you gain a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls made using the weapon, and the damage dealt by your seals increases by 1d6. Very rare, you gain +2 to attack and damage rolls. The damage dealt by your seals is increased by 2d6. In addition, when you reduce an enemy to 0 hit points, you can choose to regain a seal, no action required. Once you regain a seal this way, you can't do so again until the following dusk. And finally, Legendary. You gain a +3 bonus to attack and damage. The damage dealt by your seals is increased by 3d6. In addition, when you reduce an enemy to 0 hit points, you can regain 2 seals and gain temporary hit points equal to your Illrigger level, no action required. Once you regain seals and gain temporary hit points this way, you can't do so again until the following dusk. Holy shit.
Yes.
I think my favorite aspect to this is because there is uncommon, rare, very rare, and legendary versions of this, you could set this up as, okay, there is an Illrigger in your party. He has acquired an uncommon True Name.
Mm-hmm.
As he proceeds to get stronger, so does his true name.
Yeah.
So once they reach certain levels, it goes from uncommon to rare to a very rare to a legendary.
Not even certain levels. You could flavor it as a DM.
Oh
where
my
you
god, it's
have
not even
them
done.
do certain feats, and the certain things that they do depends on the rarity increasing.
Okay, so there is a little, I don't know what to call it, warning thing. I don't know if it's actually a warning. An ancient true name. Since the Illrigger has many variable playstyles, true name shape and rarity are flexible, allowing the GM to bestow a weapon that best fits the Illrigger in their party. We suggest tying this weapon into a greater story, such as a power squabble in the Seven Cities, a feud between two fiends, or even a devil trying to learn your Illrigger's true name in hell. A devil's true name can be spoken aloud to aid in summoning the fiend or to strip them of their power. See Flea Mortals for these mechanics. Okay, we have to get Flea Mortals. Similar rules could apply to your infernal Illrigger if you wish. Once a character claims true name, they might quest to find its original name, thus learning the true names of many fiends in the hells and gaining great leverage. However, the weapon's wielder will undoubtedly encounter fiends who crave the weapon for themselves, such as Infernal Chancellor Lazavos, a chancellor in the Seven Cities whose agents collect powerful relics to enable his election to the court. You can find his stat block and more information about him in Flea Mortals.
Yes.
Very interesting, and I like this weapon a lot. This weapon seems very, very like this is the Illrigger weapon. Kind of like how the paladin has fuck's the weapon called? Holy Avenger. Like that is the paladin weapon. This is the Illrigger weapon. I like that.
So we have another Bloodsbane. Potion very rare. This oil is deceptively clear and smells faintly like parchment, dried ink, and a touch of sulfur. To unlock the oil's power, an additional component must be mixed in, as shown in the Bloodsbane effects table. This component may have already been added, or the oil's user can acquire an unmixed oil and add the component as part of a short or long rest. These components are difficult to sense once diluted in the oil, and identifying this oil may require a keen nose or additional research. The oil can coat one slashing or piercing weapon, or up to 5 pieces of slashing or piercing ammunition. Applying the oil in this way takes 1 minute, during which time a willing creature must offer 1 drop of their blood, mixing it into the oil to activate its magic. A creature hit with the weapon or ammunition coated in this oil must succeed on a DC 15 Constitution saving throw or suffer an effect depending on the oil's special component added. In addition, if the creature fails the saving throw and the blood in the oil came from an Illrigger, the creature has a seal placed on them by that Illrigger. This seal doesn't count against the number of seals granted by the Illrigger's Baleful interdict feature. So before we go into the effects, holy crap.
This is like the most powerful potion I've ever fucking heard of. Like, holy shit.
Because not only is it you get an effect that happens, but also
there's an added bonus to it if you're an Illrigger.
Yes. Which
also,
it puts a seal on them, and it doesn't count towards your seals.
There's something because this item said coating it on a slashing piercing weapon or 5 pieces of slashing piercing ammunition.
Mm-hmm.
That made me realize something.
Guns.
True name can be any weapon.
Yes.
I think I have to play a fucking Illrigger with a gun now.
Okay, Hellboy.
You fucking better believe it, bitch. I will build Hellboy in your fucking campaign. Don't think I won't.
Bloodsbane effects. Ingredient. Menthra. Avensis.
Here, I can read this for you.
Mentha arvensis oil.
There you go.
Effect: the target is under the effects of the Zone of Truth spell for 10 minutes.
Now I'm finding out that you were laying on my side.
That's very interesting.
There is proof.
Guys.
Right.
Get down a notch, please. Sorry, continue. No.
Nightshade oil. The target is paralyzed for 1 minute. Bloodhound fur. The creature who offered their blood to the oil knows the direction and distance of the target for 24 hours.
Interesting.
Rose oil. The target is under the effect of the Charm Person spell for 1 hour. The creature they are charmed by is a creature who offered their blood to the oil.
Okay. Let's take this one at a time. If I'm being honest, 2 of these are far better than the other 2. And if I'm being honest,
all of these are
I
interesting
think they're all good.
options.
They're all useful. They can all be good in
Yes.
certain situations. But if I'm being honest, I like the fact that you can then just go, cool, I'm going to attack someone, now they're charmed by me.
Mhm.
Also, real quick, just so you're fucking aware, there's no fucking save for the rose oil effect.
Yeah.
Oh wait, never mind. No, I'm wrong. There is a save. It's stated in the thing itself.
Yeah.
Never mind. My bad. Point B, I mean, still, that's really fucking good. You could just hit someone and go, cool, they're charmed. Or hit someone, cool, they're paralyzed.
Mhm.
I do think the Zone of Truth effect is really cool and very unique, especially because I feel like it'd be used less in combat and more in like you could just go, cool, I'm going to coat my dagger in the Methena Arvenesis oil.
Yeah. Mentha arvensis.
I'm going to drag my blade along the arm of the victim. I need them to roll a con saving throw. They fail? Cool. They are now under the Zone of Truth for the next 10 minutes.
Yes.
I think that's so fucking cool. The Bloodhound fur, I think that has its uses, but I think it's probably the least used one of the 4.
You know what would be interesting and also scary lore-wise, which also would add and make sense? I think the Sanguine Knight would have more access to the blood.
Bloodsbane.
To the Bloodsbane oil than the other classes. Just
I think so too. But I think another unique effect is while I think what you could make it unique for is the Sanguine Knight has a lot of access to the Bloodsbane oil, but then the other subclasses have a lot of access to these specific ingredients.
Yeah.
Like for instance,
you could flavor it that way.
The Nightshade oil would be you'd probably find with one of the Shadow Masters.
Yes.
Rose oil you might find with the Hellspeaker. Bloodhound.
So definitely, it definitely gives you options.
I think there's another uniqueness to it.
Expand your world and expand.
I think there's one more uniqueness to this.
Yeah.
There is nothing saying you can't come up with your own ingredients.
Yeah.
Like the DM could design ingredients and effects for those ingredients.
Yeah. Because it's essentially a Build-A-Bear potion. You don't know what ingredients may work. Some ingredients might not do anything. Or they all might do something you just don't know. And if it's not any of these ingredients, it may just be an effect that your DM comes up with.
Oh, God. I just looked over at the fucking stream and it had frozen on a specific scene. And it was just your camera with like your eyes half rolled back in your head, your lips like perked as if you're fucking about to bust.
Oh God.
It was so funny. It's just like, oh. That's the only sound I could picture coming from you in that moment. It was just so funny.
Hazy.
But no. Yeah.
what are your thoughts in general of the Illrigger class as a whole, including subclasses?
I, if I'm being honest, and I'm going to be, it's a good class. I think it's a very unique class, especially for the fact that it feels like a class that has taken vibes from other classes, right? Like
I agree.
it has a lot of feel of paladin, it has a lot of war vibes, it has a lot of bard vibes, and I like the fact that each subclass kind of pushes it deeper into one of those vibes.
Okay.
Like Hellspeaker, it heavily makes it feel like a bard.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that it's a class that feels like it would be both effective as just you playing that class,
Yeah.
but also it feels like it would have a really good synergy with other classes when you multi-class. Like Hellspeaker would be synergized insanely well with a bard or a rogue. The same with Shadowmaster could probably synergize really well with both a bard and a rogue. But
Yeah.
it's like, but at the same time, I still think there are certain aspects of it that could use a little work. I don't think it's perfect.
I mean, no
It's
class is perfect, but
Oh,
yeah.
of course not. If I'm being honest, Illrigger feels like the closest being so.
Yeah, I think it definitely shows that they put the time and the effort, right? I think it's a good class. It's definitely something that um I want to allow in my campaigns.
Of course.
Though there might be like some
I do too.
campaigns, depending on the setting, where I might say no in certain
I
regards. But in
I
general, I
think
think that it's a perfectly fine class uh, for,
I think
to
I
count
think
amongst the base classes.
I genuinely think the only issue I really have with the subclass is it feels very setting specific. It feels like you
In some
really want
regards,
to
yeah.
push it. It feels like you want to push it in a very specific direction and in a very specific setting. But of course, that's not to say that there isn't a way to go,
Mhm.
cool, let's change the flavor a bit so it fits better in this setting, right?
Well, so like here's the
Like
thing.
we could, like for instance, here's a very interesting example for you. We could flavor, for instance, the Sanguine Knight to be, instead of, oh, they follow the orders of, Saktak, or however the fuck you say his name.
Mm-hmm.
In the case of your campaign setting, maybe they actually follow Strahd. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Maybe. Again, it's not like, oh, like, let's do that. It's like, that's an example that I'm putting forward. But it's like, it's the ideology of, I like the class because it feels very useful. It feels like you're always going to have fun with it, no matter what subclass you end up choosing. The only limitation I'm seeing is it feels very heavily lore embedded into very specific settings. But I feel like with the right player and right DM, you could very easily reconstruct its lore to fit your setting better.
I agree.
And
I think overall it is a fine class. I enjoy it. It's full of flavor. It's full of potential for world building in any campaign.
Agreed. And I think overall, I think what makes it most interesting to me is the fact that it is an official class for D&D.
Well, official in the sense that it's recognized as a third party. Yeah.
Well, no. Wizards of the Coast says whenever they introduce their new player core handbook, Illrigger's going to be in it.
Really?
That's what I've heard. Is Illrigger is supposed to be one of the core classes, which is why I'm like, okay, this is very interesting.
I mean, if they add it like they did with like some other classes from like Critical Role, I think that would be really cool.
I think no matter which way they do it, right? I think
There's also the aspect, because there's 7 cities, right? Like in Hell, right? Based on this class. That means that there's potentially 2 other subclasses that we don't have yet.
I will state, funnily enough,
if they're going to do that.
One of these subclasses is technically not one of the 7 cities that's mentioned.
True.
And that is the Sanguine Knight. The City of Blood is its own separate entity from the 7 cities.
True. So technically speaking,
because the 7 cities actually represent the 7 sins.
So technically speaking, I guess you could say there's 3 subclasses that we don't have.
There are 3 possible subclasses we're not fully aware of, and possibly even more that could relate to other archdevils. For instance, and this is one that I hope to fucking see. I forget what the devil's name is, but you know the devil that's like hyena. It's like the god. It's like the devil god of all Null.
Yeah.
I would love to see an Illrigger subclass based around that, and its whole thing is being is hunting and think of it as it's like an evil version of this subclass is Craven the Hunter if he was truly an evil bad guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would fuck that shit up so bad because I love that idea.
I have a question for our viewers, for our listeners, and for chat.
Indeed.
And the question is, what are your opinions on the Illrigger since we've gone over it? In addition to that, what other third-party classes would you like us to cover?
Actually, I'm going to expand upon that.
Look into.
Actually, I am going to expand on that a little bit. Would you like us to do maybe a little mini series within our podcast? Because here's a funny idea. Maybe do a little mini series where we go over each class and their core subclasses. I'm not going to do not their expanded ones just yet. But if you want us to do maybe a little mini series where we cover each class from the base game of D&D, Bard, Barbarian, Rogue, Ranger, whatever, cover their base subclasses. We can do that. And then if you guys enjoy that even more, we can also cover the expanded subclasses of each class.
Yeah.
If you guys like that idea, let us know. Tell us in the comments. Tell us in chat if you can right now.
Yeah, get in the comments, especially
get in the comments.
Yeah, get in the comments of Spotify or YouTube. But yeah, Hazy, because we are getting close to time. Where can they find you?
Yes, of course. Yeah. They can find me here on Twitch under Hazy the Warlock. They can find me on X under the Warcrime Warlock. They can find me on Instagram under Hazy the Warcrimes Warlock or at the Warcrimes Warlock. They can find me on Twitch, Instagram, X. Okay. And if you guys wish to friend me and get to know me a bit more, you can find me on Discord under HazyFire0182. Where can they find you, buddy?
You guys can find me on a numerous amount of platforms. ILLRIGGUS_gaming, so that is ALURGUS_gaming on both Instagram and Twitter. You can find me on YouTube and Blue Sky by just looking up ILLRIGGUS. You can also find the podcast. If you go on Spotify, you can type in Howling at Night, or you could just type in either Howling at Night or Night Howlers Network is where we're at on YouTube, and Night Howlers Network on Instagram currently.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode of Howling at Night. We appreciate anybody and everybody who dropped in. We appreciate anybody and everybody who's going to be listening to this in the future. If you have any questions or have any other topics that you wish to hear us talk about, whether or not it's D&D, Match the Gathering, anything Nerdum related, hell, it could be food based, whatever you think, anything you want us to talk about, let us know. Get in the comments.
Yeah, and we'll see
tell
you
us
guys
about
in the
it.
next one.
See you guys later. Be safe.